There is a paradox in this life, a contradiction carved deep within the human heart. We are taught to seek the warm embrace of love, to yearn for the solace of its soft touch. Yet love, in its very nature, is cloaked in ambiguity, a veil spun from uncertainty and unspoken words. It is a promise, yes, but one made in whispers, trembling upon the lips that utter it. When they say they love you, those words glide like feathers, light and unsteady, never truly touching down. But hatred, oh, hatred, speaks with a voice that is unyielding. It does not waver, nor does it falter. Hatred is heavy. It settles upon you like the weight of a storm-laden sky, pressing down with a gravity that cannot be denied. When they say they hate you, you can be sure they have cast their truth like stones. Hatred does not hide. It does not lie. It comes raw and unmasked, a face of fire and frost, a cold clarity that cuts through the fog of half-meant affections. There is no mistaking its presence, for it settles in the bones, burns in the marrow. There is no room for doubt when the words of hatred are spoken. They sear themselves into the flesh. And so perhaps there is something to be cherished in the bold honesty of disdain, in the brutal sincerity that hate affords us. For in that darkness, we find a strange kind of light. It is not a light that comforts, not the soft glow of candle flames on quiet nights. It is a light that burns away the pretense, that strips bare all illusions. There is a power in knowing where one stands, a power in feeling the earth beneath your feet without fear that it may give way. In hatred, there's a certainty that love can never offer. When they hate you, at least you know who you are in their eyes. No mask, no shadow, just a figure stark against the backdrop of their loathing. And yet, we live in a world that shuns the bitter taste, a world that begs for sweetness, even if it is laced with falsehood. We are drawn to the gentle lies of love, to the honey-coated words that soothe the ear, even if they sour with time. We are asked to be grateful for love's half-truths, to wrap ourselves in the warmth of its flickering flame, forgetting how easily it can be extinguished. We let ourselves believe in the kindness of the embrace, all the while knowing that hands which cradle can also push away, that lips which smile can form the cold lines of contempt. But to prefer hatred over love is not to reject love itself. No, it is to reject the illusion that love is ever truly unconditional. It is to reject the notion that love is immune to change, that it is a force beyond the ebb and flow of time. To prefer hatred is to acknowledge the purity of feeling that comes when one has stripped away the need for approval. It is to rise above the need for affection that bends and sways in the shifting winds of circumstance. It is to stand tall and look unflinching into the heart of darkness, to say, "Here I am, and I need not your approval, nor your sweet words, for I am steadfast in my own being." There is strength in this, a strength born from the ashes of acceptance. There is a fire that burns brighter in the absence of love's fickle favor. It is a fire that does not die when others withdraw their warmth. It is a fire that feeds on the very essence of defiance. Those who know what it means to be hated understand a kind of freedom that is foreign to the beloved. For love can bind as tightly as any chain, and the desire to be loved can weigh as heavily as any stone. But to be hated, to stand before the world's contempt and remain unbowed, that is to know a power that is untamed, a power that flows like wild rivers, fierce and unbroken. For in the darkness of hatred, we find not an end, but a beginning. We find the chance to reshape ourselves, to cast aside the parts that others sought to control. When we are loved, we are asked to conform, to meet the expectations of those who claim to cherish us. We are molded by the hands of those who say they adore us, shaped and reshaped to fit their idea of who we should be. But when we are hated, we are given the rarest of gifts, the freedom to be wholly ourselves. In their disdain, there is no need to pretend, no need to wear a mask that pleases the eye of the beholder. There is a beauty in the struggle against the tide of hatred, a beauty in the raw force of resistance. It is not a beauty that can be easily seen. It is not a beauty that softens the lines or gentles the gaze. It is the beauty of iron wrought in the furnace, the beauty of stone shaped by wind and rain. It is a beauty that emerges not in spite of suffering, but because of it, forged in the fires of rejection and shaped by the hammer of adversity. Let them hate if hate is what they offer, for there is no greater strength than the strength that arises when we no longer seek to please. There's no deeper peace than the peace that comes when we relinquish the need for acceptance, when we no longer hunger for love that may never come. Let them hate, for in their hatred we find clarity, and in clarity we find truth. We learn that our worth is not measured by the softness of words or the sweetness of affection, but by the fierceness of our own hearts, by the unyielding nature of our own spirit. So walk through the darkened valleys and let the shadows linger. Let the coldness settle and let the storm howl, for there is a fire within that no tempest can extinguish. Let them cast their stones, let them spit their venom. For even as their words echo in the night, even as their disdain seeks to pierce the skin, there is a power in knowing that you are beyond their reach. There is a power in knowing that you need not their love nor their approval. There is a power in standing tall, even as the world would have you kneel. Embrace the darkness and let it be your forge. Let it shape you, but do not let it consume you. For to prefer hate is not to succumb to it, but to rise above the frailty of love's fleeting comfort. It is to find the strength to walk your own path, even when the road is rough and the night is long. It is to know with a certainty that is unbreakable, that even in the face of the world's scorn, you remain whole and you remain true. And in that truth, there is a light that shines, a light that no hatred can dim.